and get on down to Hooters.
There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association Super Cup Series. Of course, we are at Kansas Motor Speedway, or should I say Kansas Speedway? There's no motor in there. A lot of times these mile and a halves. I get confused with that. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have Big Al as my co-commentator, and as well, we have, I do believe, a little bit of an analyst here with us again here tonight. JC Evans is going to be in the booth with us. Definitely lovely to have both of you gentlemen. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good there, Brian, man. I appreciate it. Great to be back in Kansas. I tell you, I don't know how many times it clicked my heels just to get back to this place, but here we are tonight, and I think it's going to be an exciting race, Brian.
I definitely do as well. How are you doing tonight, JC?
I'm doing pretty good, Brian. Thanks for having me in the booth again.
Yeah, definitely lovely to have you. You definitely bring some really interesting insight, I'd say, to the competition here in the ISCA. Of course, looks like practice is getting ready to wrap up here very, very soon. Of course, we're at Kansas. Going to be 250 miles here. Of course, 167 laps on the docket here. And one thing I love about Kansas is that you can do exactly what you're seeing Matt DeCiani do right now, which is ride the wall. JC, have you turned any laps here? What does riding that wall feel like here in Kansas?
Oh, it feels great here because that top line has a ton of grip, especially in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, it just gives you more momentum shots, so you don't feel a difference there. But for some reason, like 1 and 2, just the way that corner runs, you really can almost run full throttle if the tires were not going to suffer.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think you want to run full throttle up there. Very easy to hit that wall as well. I mean, I know I've turned quite a few laps here at Kansas this week myself, running that top groove, and it is so much fun here at Kansas. But that wall, and a lot of times, acts like a magnet. You know, it wants to reach out and grab you sometimes. But I think the first probably 10, 15, maybe 20 laps are probably going to be ran on the bottom for a lot of these drivers, depending on the setup. I think that's the way to kind of save the tire for longer. But here we go. Looks like practice is going to be switching over here. We're going to be going to qualifying. But definitely going to be an interesting track. Tire wear is very significant at this place. I know in the laps that I turned, when I got to that 20, 30-plus lap margin, that's when I started really noticing handling difficulties, I know, with the setup I was running. What about you, JC? What did you notice when it came to handling?
Yeah, usually about 20 to 25 laps. Yeah, your car will either do like one or two things. It'll either start to get too loose, or it might just start pushing a little bit. So you have to like try to be careful with what you do and try to change your line to adjust to it.
And as you can see, we see Derek Heitman on the racetrack trying to get himself a really quick lap here. Qualifying. Oh, there he is into the wall. Hopefully he doesn't do that again, because that might invalidate his lap time. Let's look at the details for tonight's race. What's up, Big Al?
It definitely will invalidate his lap time. I'm sorry.
And it looks like, of course, we mentioned it before, 167 laps here for the Hooters 250. Of course, stages are 35 and 75. 6 sets of tires, 5 actually down in the pits, 6 altogether, including the one that's on the car when we start this race. 62 laps is the fuel window, of course, give or take, based on whether you're in the draft or not. And I'll tell you one thing that's going to matter a whole lot here tonight. It's going to be dirty air versus clean air. This track is notorious for being able to really, aero block. Would you say, JC?
Oh, yeah, by a ton. Like if the lead car is on the outside line, your thought is to try to follow on the outside where it's fast, but you have no way to save your tires that way, because that aero push issue is going to be affecting your handling so bad where you can just wear off tires just following him. So you try to run like the bottom, but most likely you won't be able to make the pass on the bottom like late in the run.
And we saw Jeremy Sumter just smack into the wall there. That's going to invalidate his lap. As we're watching, I do believe, not sure, I think that's actually Clayton Hoffman, is it there? Yeah, that is. In the 92, driving his own race car here tonight. Let's see where he's going to qualify.
You know, I think that wall is definitely going to be a very valid part of all of our conversations, and I think we're going to see a lot of guys hit it, and who knows what happens.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to want to hit it, that's for sure. And that's going to be just like next week as well. And we're going to Darlington, which is, of course, my home track. I I'm very excited to go there. But that's another track we're going to see some big hits on the wall. Of course, Clayton Hoffman right now getting knocked down to that second place position. And I do believe Josh Schaffner has moved up to the top of the board. Let's look at the points coming into tonight's race before we move over to our national anthem. Patrick Gitter up at the top of the board. He's got 2 wins. Of course, 7 top 5s. He's been incredibly consistent here. Of course, he's got, I do believe, only 3 points over Matt DeCiani. DeCiani, another one, has been really consistent here as of late. Third place, of course, Derek Heitman. So this is a Team Conti 1, 2, 3 right now in the points. Of course, Derek Heitman has 2 wins, 7 top 5s, so almost just as consistent as Patrick Gitter. Brian Johnson, of course, sits in that 4th place position. Brandon Passalacqua, he's in 5th. Randy Mullins, 6th. 7th, Abner Acosta. Miller Bonds in 8th. Kyle Holden in 9th. And Chris Johnson rounds out the top 10 in points. And so far, still Josh Schaffner holding the poles. We're watching Randy Drumhiller turn some laps out here at Kansas Motor Speedway. Curious to see who's going to be able to come up here and get this top spot. I think this is going to be an exciting race. I think we're going to see some 2-wide, 3-wide action early, but then I think it's going to start to single file out and maybe start to spread out as well. We'll have to wait and see. Let's go ahead and take that step away, play our national anthem. We'll also play some commercials. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Remember when I told all my drivers, reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time? Drivers, start your engines!
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with and get on down to Hooters.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association race here at Kansas Speedway. Definitely excited to see if we could possibly see if this is no place like home. Of course, let's go down through the starting grid and see where everybody's going to be starting at. Of course, we heard, I do believe, in the comments that we do have some people that are rooting for the 19 of Jay Holmes. Definitely love to hear that. Also have seen in the iRacing chatter that these guys are, the drivers are talking in, is apparently a lot of people hit the wall in qualifying. We, of course, saw that ourselves. But let's go through the grids. Josh Schaffner, of course, starting up on the pole here. This is unlike Josh Schaffner. We usually don't see him qualify on the pole, but great job to him. Dylan Banks, last second qualifier, gets up into second place. Very quick time for him. Of course, Clayton Hoffman, always a good qualifier, starts in third place. Tim Wortman Jr., he was fastest in practice. He starts in fourth. Abner Acosta, he's been really doing fantastic this season. He starts fifth. Derek Heitman is going to be starting in sixth place. John Binder in seventh. Brian Johnson in eighth. Brandon Pastelacqua in ninth. And Matt Liciani rounds out the top 10.
That's going to put Jeremy Sumter in 11th with Mark Sanchez along his outside. Next, we got Greg Wachinski and Randy Belk in row 7. 15 shows Nick King with Jose Medina in 16. 17 shows Randy Drumhiller with another Randy by his side with Randy Mullins. And then Kyle Holden and Kenny Powell will round out the top 20.
Darren Mullins going to be starting in 21st. Jay Holmes, who apparently is a fan favorite, is going to be starting in 22nd. Alexander Carr starts in 23rd. Frank Flores in 24th. Andrew Griegsbaum is going to be starting in 25th. Shane Parrish, long run champ right here, is in 26th. 27th, Paul Olson. 28th, Blair Holloman. 29th, Derek Jacobs. And 30th, Greg Carr. So definitely excited to see what these drivers have in store. A 30-car field here. Big Al, you usually ask this question. I think I'll ask it this week. What's the over and under on caution?
Well, a track like Kansas, I guess I'll go first. And I'm going to say, I don't really think it's going to be a caution-plagued race, so I'm going to throw it out there at 1, Brian.
Okay. I can go with that. I'm going to go with 2, just to make it interesting. JC, what you think?
I've been thinking 3. Because these restarts are always crazy.
Well, that's interesting. Watch, we're all wrong and no cautions at all. Because this happened before in the ISCA, has it not?
Yeah, absolutely. That is what we're used to. We're accustomed to having no cautions, man. So, but we've had so many cars racing here as of late, which is great for everything. So yeah, the probability of running into somebody is probably a little bit higher than it has been in previous seasons.
Yeah, that's true. And I think also this track being such a handling-dependent racetrack as well lends itself to the chance of cautions going up, considering very easy to get loose at this place. I mean, I know from experience turning some laps around this place, and these next-gen cars are already on edge anyway, and as soon as you have a little disturbance in the air, just make a false move, that car's coming around. But here we go, getting ready to get this thing underway. Josh Schaffner in the 50 machine going to be leading us to green. There goes the pace car down pit road, and here comes the 50 machine into the Geico restart zone. Green flag out for the first time. Fairly tame restart, I should say, from Schaffner. He's going to get a bump from the back end to the back end from Clayton Hoffman in his nitro machine. Of course, Clayton Hoffman is going to back off a little bit into 1 and 2. Of course, he's got that dirty air. Schaffner's going to slide up in front of Dylan Banks, side by side throughout the top 10.
And just watching as everybody is still out there running, Brian, I'm wondering just how long it's going to take these guys to actually settle in and get into that race rhythm. Right now, it seems to be, everybody is comfortable on that bottom line, which is good. I don't think we'll see as many drivers trying to get up high. There's really no point right now in this part of the race.
Yeah, I think it's a little early to start going up high. You do see Tim Wortman Jr. He's kind of running up there a little bit, which is, I mean, that's fine. But I think it's going to, if you run up there when the tires are cold, it doesn't seem like it wants to grip up there. I know from my time in practice, it seems like the bottom line is the place to be for the first 10 or so laps. JC, what was your findings there?
Yeah, you want to try to get to the bottom early on in these runs and then kind of like migrate top if you have to. But also, you got to watch for if you're like behind cars that are like side by side and stuff, you got to try to be in the lane where they're not. So there's going to be times where you're going to be on the bottom, there's going to be times you're in the middle or even the top. You just have to get your car versatile to every lane.
Well, I'll tell you someone who's flying through the field right now. Jeremy Sumter, I do believe, started, if I'm not mistaken, in 11th place. He is now up into the top 5. He just drove by Derek Heitman, Tim Wortman Jr., Brandon Pasalago. I mean, he is driving through the field. And guess where he's running at? Towards the middle of the top groove. Look at John Binder as well, getting some speed, ripping up on the top. Look at the speed that this 52 is generating. But I think he's paying a price, though, when it comes to these tires. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you're seeing. Everybody else is just kind of taking it easy because we got a long way to go, and tires are going to be a premium. We're going to be talking about tires the majority of the evening, not just us, the drivers. That's what they're doing. They're hearing it from their crew chief. They got to figure this out. You know, you can't just go out there and bang on these things and expect them to hang out. So I don't know. I think that's we're seeing some guys just kind of taking it easy, but we see some guys are going to put the hammer down.
Yeah, John Bender is definitely putting the hammer down. I mean, he keeps taking it up top. I mean, he is riding right at the wall almost. And look at these runs. Oh, into the wall. But look at the run he's still generating. I mean, it didn't even take that much momentum off of him. And he's already fought his way up into 7th. This is probably this is the most aggressive we've probably seen Bender, I'd say. I do want to turn our attentions back, of course, to Jeremy Sumter. He has gotten by Abner Costa and is now attacking Clayton Hoffman for the top 3. A little bit close there for Bender. I'm watching Bender and Heitman. They touched a little bit there as they were fighting for that 6th place position. So we're starting to see some guys get a little bit antsy out here. So let's look back at the 83 and the, I do believe, the 23. They are fighting hard. I saw Bender get into some contact with the 83. So I think Bender might be biting off a little more than he can chew, and some of these drivers not liking it. As we're seeing a little bit of a hairy situation further back here.
Well, Bender's got, I mean, he has got to put the hammer down. He is, you know, he hadn't been having the best season, so he needs to try to get up front and take advantage of these stage points. And like you said, clean air. So he's got to put the hammer down to get there, and hopefully he can still have something left when he does. But he has got to risk it for the stage point.
And that's what he was doing. I mean, he was running up on the top, getting some major runs on the exits. Now he's elected to run on the bottom, so maybe he can save a little bit of tire, get back in this thing. But right now, it looks like Josh Schaffner under fire from Jeremy Sumter. Sumter has come back from outside of the top 10 all the way up into 2nd place right now. This guy is flying around the racetrack. Fastest lap on the track last time by, 30.793, and it belongs to Jeremy Sumter. He's about a tenth faster than a lot of these guys around him at the moment. As we see a huge gaggle of race cars go further back, as the race for the lead is starting to intensify. We've got essentially a 4-car breakaway. Josh Schaffner, Jeremy Sumter, Dylan Banks, and Clayton Hoffman have driven away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, but something doesn't feel right about this, Brian. I think it's just a little bit too premature to start crowning Princess just yet. I think we still got to go through, the better part of this run, and some of those guys are in the back. They've got to try to make their way to the front. This is the part where I think we're going to start to see drivers getting a little bit more desperate because we're getting deeper into the season now.
Well, the race is tightening up quite a bit for this lead. I mean, it looks like Josh Schaffner is trying desperately to keep the 52 behind him. I mean, but I don't think it's going to work. Here comes the 52 of Sumter to the top side. And he is going to rocket right around the top. He's going to have that clean air. I'm wondering what those tires are going to look like, though. He's 11 laps into this run, and it has not slowed down. He is looking still incredibly fast. As here comes a crossover, I do believe, from Schaffner. Schaffner tries to get back to the 52. as this is, of course, the race for the lead. These guys have started to even pull away from Dylan Banks and Clayton Hoffman. Now, if I'm in Hoffman's shoes, I think Hoffman's probably trying to take it easy here, as it looks like Banks and Hoffman starting to go to battle here for third.
You got Jose Acosta back there as well.
Whoa, Jose is back.
I meant Abner.
I was like, what? Whoa, how did I miss that? Yeah, Abner Acosta right now in the midst of a battle with Randy Mullins. Of course, Randy Mullins, he started further back, I do believe, outside of the top 10, and has worked his way up into 8th place. Now, Randy had I got to be honest, I cannot mischaracterize this. He had a terrible week last week, Big Al. I mean, he just was struggling all night long. And I think that 54, he's in 6th in the points. He cannot afford to have another bad week.
He's not the only one. That's what I was saying earlier. I think a lot of drivers are getting into that crunch time where they're starting to feel a little bit desperate. You know, some guys have just been out there having a good run. But Brian, if you're not in the top 10, or say if you're not in the top 5, yeah, you've got to start trying to figure out a way to make points.
Yeah, I know 100%. As Jeremy Sumter clearly in the lead, 0.2 of a second on John Schaffner now. Of course, Schaffner is in 2nd place. Clayton Hoffman has taken over 3rd from Dylan Banks. Of course, Dylan Banks trying to hold off Brandon Pasalakwa. Pasalakwa is actually starting to catch up. Now, one thing I've noticed about Dylan Banks, 31.4 last time by. That was the slowest lap time in the top 5. I think Dylan Banks starting to struggle in the 70 machine. Now,
Hey,
curious to see. We haven't seen a whole lot from that 70 machine, so I'm hoping to see maybe he's got the long run pace.
Man, you got some heavy hitters in here. In those heavyweights, they know how to go the distance, man. So I don't think, I mean, right now, what are we in this 16 laps in? So it's still not even go time. So I think you're going to see some charges to the front here probably in the next 10 laps.
No, I definitely think you're right. And looking at lap times, the top 2 are kind of starting to slow down. You know, they're hitting 31.3s. Jeremy Sumter and Schaffner hitting 31.3s. And most of the people behind them are hitting 31.1s. They're starting to hit their stride, Big Al. And you can see like people like Brandon Pasalakwa, Derek Heitman, and Randy Mullins. They're starting to go to battle right now. They've saved their tires, and I think they're starting to come to fight now. And of course, you see a lot of battles back here. I do believe that's Blair Holloman up into the outside wall a little bit there as he gets passed by possibly Greg Wachinski. Wachinski not quite able to get the pass completed. You see Kenny Powell as well. Of course, this is right around that 15th position at the moment. That's a big battle going on. Dylan Banks has now gotten caught by Brandon Pasalakwa. Of course, this is the battle for 4th place now. Looks like Pasalakwa is going to make that pass happen. Josh Schaffner just got passed by Clayton Hoffman. Schaffner starting to struggle in the 50 machine. Last time by, he hit a 31.6.
I don't think you're struggling. I think you're just getting ready to see those guys who are champions with stretching their legs out and making their tires work. You know, Abner, he's the king of that. He's always going to be conserving until time. Also, Clayton Hoffman. I mean, really, I don't even know what else to say about that guy. So I was just waiting, and I think we're going to start to see a little bit more. Some of these guys, Brian, I'm telling you, they have got to show out this race.
No, I'm right there with you. And Clayton Hoffman, I mean, we can't just, go right over that name and not give him the respect that he deserves. I mean, this guy, every time he shows up in an ISCA race, he usually wins. So, and there he goes up to the lead. He's trying to take the lead right now from John Schaffner, actually Jeremy Sumter, I should say. And Sumter, I don't know if he has had a battle with Clayton Hoffman yet. I mean, Sumter's good in his own right, but I'll tell you what, Clayton he's in another league. I mean, this 92 usually shows up and he's out for blood. Here comes Derek Heitman, though, to the back end of Pasalakwa. Of course, Brandon Pasalakwa and Heitman have been having a pretty heated battle all season long. Been very respectful. Oh, big sideways moment there from Heitman. Heitman's able to save it. Good save there from the 76.
Wow, 4 wide there going into at the start-finish line. I think this is the time. This is the go time. That's what I've been talking about.
Wow, look at that. Abner Acosta on the bottom. You see, of course, Matt DeCiani, I do believe, in the middle, and you see Brian Johnson up top, and it looks like DeCiani gets a little bit out of sorts, has to back out of it. Definitely it is go time. I mean, this is some awesome racing right here, JC. What are you thinking right now, JC? You glad you up here?
Oh, watch the 8 car.
No, I wish I was actually down there because Kansas is one of my favorite tracks to run at, just because of all of its trickiness.
And it looks like we got a replay on what happened here. Frank Flores, I think, might have just had an issue. So we see, of course, the 8 machine. Oh, yeah. How did this not bring a caution? Now, Randy Drumhiller and Frank Flores having some issues. Knowing Frank, he's probably got some words for this. And I think, Frank was reacting to the 18.
No, Frank hit the wall.
Well, he saw the 18 ahead of him, and I think he might have reacted to that and hit the wall as a result, possibly, you think? Or
I don't know about that. I just know he hit the wall, and at that point, he was just starting to come
18,
down.
right? See the 18, boom, right there, right in front of him. And I think the 8, Frank followed the 18. Now, JC, Big Al, you probably know about this too. When you're out here on this racetrack and you're driving this race car, no matter what track you're at, it's very easy to follow somebody into the wall.
Target fixation.
Yeah, exactly. You're following that driver, and you just go right into the wall with them.
Yeah, the only reason the caution did not come out is because Frank was spinning out in the grass, and iRacing doesn't usually throw cautions when you're that far low.
And you got to be honest, that's kind of unlucky for him when you really think about it. I mean, because he could have used a caution. Frank is, really in need of some points. He's another one that's kind of in desperate mode right now. We do have 2 teammates battling one another. Randy Mullins and Brandon Passalacqua fighting right now for that 4th place position. Brian Johnson, he's starting to drive his way through the field. Now, Brian, not long ago, was the points leader in the ISCA, but of course, he's had, I wouldn't say bad performances, but he has not been up to the caliber that we're used to seeing from Brian, and I think that's going to change here tonight. You can just see the speed he's generating. Brian Johnson right now is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack on the long run, and I think we're going to see that all night long. Oh, the problem! Jeremy Sumter turned by Derek Heitman. What just happened here? Caution flag flies as we have some drama on the track.
Sumter was turned by Heitman.
I see that. Derek Heitman turns Jeremy Sumter, and I'm not sure exactly why. We're going to take a look back at this and see exactly what happened. Of course, you see Sumter, I think, might have maybe hit the wall. No, looks like you see Heitman's coming up on the 52.
Oh, wow. Yeah. He was a heat-seeking.
Came right up there and hit him.
Missile, yeah. He just locked under his tailpipes.
Now, I definitely don't want to say this is probably not intentional at all. I just think that Derek Heitman wanted to keep that run. Wow,
Yeah,
look at this. Whoa.
And at this point, with tires being what they are, of course, this car just kind of got sucked up the racetrack. 10 laps to go in this segment. A lot of drivers selecting to come down pit road.
Yeah, that camera is kind of interesting to look at.
I mean, from my first perspective, it looked like Heitman was thinking that Jeremy was going to probably go a little bit higher than what he did, but at the same time, Jeremy was coming down the banking to keep the run on the outside.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. I'm sure those guys are going to have some words for each other. Now, I do want to point out here that the top 7 have elected not to pit. Derek Heitman, playing a little bit of mind games, decided he was going to jump. He was going down to go down pit road, and then all of a sudden, last second, decided to peel back out onto the racetrack. These guys are on 27-lap-old tires. This is not going to be pretty, JC.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I got to see how many cars stayed out. Looks like looks like about 4 or 5 of them stayed out.
7 of them.
7. Yeah, so Heitman will be okay for a few laps because the guys with the new tires will have to get around like a lot of cars first before they'll get to him. So we'll see what happens. Being that it looks like they'll have about 5 laps to go for the stage-ins, he might be okay for at least the top 5 finish on the stage.
Well, I think they're going to get their elbows out. I think they have to to block as much as they can. They cannot just allow these guys to just roll up there. Those points are too valuable. And I think that's the reason why you've seen so many guys come in to get tires so they can actually kind of, change their luck, if you will. Just going to be interesting to see how this goes because this is going to probably breed us another caution.
It could, but I mean, I got to be honest. I kind of respect what Heitman, Dylan Banks, and Wortman and all the guys that ended up staying out. I like this call because they're going to have an extra set of tires. I mean, they have 5 to play down, play within the pits. I mean, so that's enough. But I mean, why not have an extra set, to play with down there, and all the drivers, for this run, are they going to come back down?
Yeah, they will. And I'm going to say this about that. I remember, I'm an old school guy. I remember back in iRacing when we got unlimited tires, you know what I mean? So the bottom of what I'm saying with that is you can't take them with you. And every week these guys come out here, and I don't think we've ever come into a situation where guys were out of tires. I mean, last week we had another similar situation where, guys were kind of doing the tire jockey juggle, but still they had plenty of tires at the end. So I say, you can't take them with you, change them.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, JC, have you ever ran into too many problems when you ran out of tires? I mean, is that something that y'all have to deal with a lot?
Normally when I run into it, I'm already kind of like in the back anyway, so I'm usually not up front most of the time that happens. So I'm usually in a better spot since I'm kind of like going to finish where I am kind of thing. So I haven't had too much issue there.
Well, here we go. Getting ready to get this thing back underway as we get ready to conclude stage number 1. Derek Heitman, of course, going to be leading us to green here. He's going to be starting on 20-something lap old tires. Dylan Banks, of course, is going to be starting up on that top side. Tim Wortman Jr. is going to be starting in third. So definitely excited to see what these guys have in store. I think we're going to see some wheel spin, guys. What do you think?
I think we need this data, and I think these guys, I think they probably have been running in IS and everything else, so they're used to starting on tires, with multiple laps on them. I think they're going to be okay.
We'll see. Here we go. Pace car down pit road as we get ready to enter that Geico restart zone. And here we go. Green, green, green. And a good start there for Heitman. And so far, so good for everybody. Dylan Banks gets cleared in front of Tim Wortman Jr. But here comes, look at some big runs there, I do believe, from Tim Wortman Jr. up to the top. He moves all the way up there. Mark Sanchez, of course, battling with Nick King. Almost 4 wide further back, though. As you can see, Clayton Hoffman battling with Randy Belk, Randy Mullins. Look at this gaggle of cars right here. I mean, there is a lot of cars per capita right here, guys.
Yeah, they're all literally stacked up here. This is one of those expensive moments we're just watching.
Yeah, expensive, right? I mean, if something goes wrong, that's a lot of cars hurt right there. And this series does not have any sort of fast repair. So, if you do have damage, you're kind of stuck with that damage. As, of course, Randy Mullins kind of able to make the hay while the sun shines. He gets in front of Clayton Hoffman, and he's on the new tires. Can he get up there and take the lead right now? These would be some fantastic stage points for him as he, of course, is trying to get by Tim Wortman Jr. Randy under fire, though, from Clayton Hoffman.
Yeah, and Clayton's probably not really, I don't know if he's in it for the points tonight. I don't know if he's running for somebody else or what, but probably not as big of a target on his radar.
Yeah, I don't think he's running for anybody else because he is running in his own number, the 92. He's running his own paint scheme as well, so I do believe that he is running under his own banners here. As there goes Randy, going to get by Derek Heitman, and he's going to take the lead. So Randy Mullins might be getting himself a stage win. Now, I always give Randy a hard time. He's always talking about, Brian, you need to talk about or show my race car so my sponsors can get a little bit of some airtime. I'm always like, hey, go out there and earn it, Randy, and we'll give you the airtime. Well, now hopefully he might be able to get up here and talk with us in the booth, Big Al. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he can just keep doing what he's doing and bring it home.
Yeah, you still got, of course, to make, I do believe, 2 more laps in order to seal the deal for stage number 1. Clayton Hoffman, of course, really close to the back end. You can tell Clayton got a fast race car. Of course, Brian Johnson also very fast. He's in that, I do believe, 3rd place position, trying to hold off teammate Josh Schaffner. Schaffner, of course, to the inside of the Ford machine. Andrew Griesbaum, I got to give him a lot of credit. He's up in the top 10, up in 6th. Banging on the back door of 5th place. I'll tell you this, I think this is the best we've seen the 78 this season. I mean, he's looked really good this season since he came back. Greg Wychinski just entered the top 10, trying to get some points away from Derek Heitman. Now, this is where Derek Heitman might lose, considering he's right on the edge of the points here. As here we go. Of course, we are on the white flag lap. Here we go. I do believe we're going to be hitting that checkered flag as the battle for stage 1 is over. Who's going to get it? And I do believe Randy Mullins, just by the skin of his teeth, he was in the midst of a battle with Clayton when that caution came out, and he just barely was able to get that from him. So Randy Mullins, your stage 1 winner. Clayton Hoffman, well, maybe not. We see Clayton goes up towards the front. Did the timing say Clayton won? I think we're about to find out, because Clayton is moving to the front of the field.
Yeah, I'm showing Clayton as the in the.
I'm showing the same thing. I think for a second there, it looked like Randy had it. So Randy Mullins, unfortunately, going to be relegated to 2nd place. Brian Johnson in 3rd. Josh Schaffner in 4th. Brandon Ponsalacqua 5th. Andrew Griesbaum 6th. Matt DeCiani 7th. Kenny Powell 8th place. Kyle Holden in 9th. Greg Wychinski in 10th. With that, we'll take a brief step away. We'll come back and we'll talk to our stage 1 winner.
You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come on, what you waiting for? You gotta get down to Hooters. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Stock Car Association. Definitely an exciting, or iRacing Stock Car Association, I messed that up. Definitely exciting race here at Kansas. We're joined in the booth by our Stage 1 winner. That was a close one, Clayton. I mean, you and Randy were going at it, man. How's the car feeling?
Feels great. I think short run, I'm a little bit of at just a slight bit of a disadvantage just because of how my car handles, but I think long run, it works a lot better. So, yeah, if it comes down to a short run, I'll probably be pretty nervous. But I know that I'm going to be fast for the majority of this run. You know, we don't have a lot of cautions here in the league, and I'm expecting a lot of green flag racing. So I think it's going to work out pretty well for me,
especially in that final stage. So if you're good on the long run, that definitely might be the sacrifice you're probably willing to kind of pay there, Clayton. But glad to see you actually in the 92. So you are racing in the series now. Is that going to be something we should see more often, or?
Yep, every week now. Yep, I'm back.
Oh. All right. Well, nobody else is going to win anymore. Well, pack it up, guys.
What just happened?
Clayton Hoffman's racing every week. But go ahead and give your shout-outs, Clayton. We congratulations on your Stage 1 win.
Yep. Thanks to Nitro for having me. For those of you who don't know, I build the Nitro A car there. They sell in their setup shop. Thanks to Timmy for my nice Jeff Gordon Flames paint. And thank you guys for all you do in the booth. And Kenny for putting on the league and keeping it running. I've been going a long time. I know I subbed for Chris a couple weeks ago, and it's nice to see that, it's still the same old league. A lot of clean racing, a lot of green flag racing. No one just running over somebody, just to keep a spot when you got, a bunch of guys that stayed out on old tires at the end of a stage. So really looking forward to the rest of the season.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you for sure, too, Clayton. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right, that was Clayton Hoffman. Clayton Hoffman just announcing that he is going to be running the rest of the season in the ISCA.
I did not mean to break in on your spot like that, but I was like, what just happened?
Yeah. That's what a way to announce.
Amazing.
He's a superstar in this series, and whenever he shows up, he usually wins races. So I think everybody's been put on notice because of that.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go jump off the cliff just yet, man, because we got some serious, like we just said earlier, we got some heavyweights in here. And having Clayton Hoffman as an addition to that, it's going to be super, super sweet and swoopy. But, wow.
Oh, yeah, that's going to drive up the competition level just that much more. As there goes the pace car. As we go through the Geico restart zone, starting stage number 2. As there goes Matt DeCiani all the way down to the apron, the dog leg, I guess you could say, at Kansas. Of course, these guys did elect to stay out. They're not on extremely old tires, but I think it is enough to tell a difference in the pace here. And also, some drivers have not been up here towards the front, such as Jose Medina, considering. Curious to see what the 48, what kind of speed he looks like he's got up here. But there goes Clayton around the top side. And, of course, Jeremy Sumter, he got turned a little bit earlier. He stayed out in order to gain all that track position back. Jose Medina doing a little bit of a block there on Josh Schaffner. This is definitely looking pretty scary in the mid-pack.
Yeah, this early in the game when we're starting to throw blocks, it's kind of like, I don't know how that's going to end, but Schaffner getting down on the inside is going to go ahead and make it run.
Look at Brian Johnson. Look at the run of momentum he's got up on that top side. He's not afraid to take it 3 wide on the 48.
The Paradigm guys are all sitting there kind of right there together. Hopefully they'll be able to find some speed together and shake a leg and get out there and get some stage points.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what the plan is here. You could definitely tell those Paradigm guys they're hungry. Clearly they're hungry to get some wins, some points. They're tired of the Team Conti guys coming out here and dominating. But I got to say, if what Clayton says is true, if he's going to be here every week, I think the Team Conti guys might be the least of the Paradigm drivers worry. Because I'm telling you, Clayton, he's a champion. He's a previous series champion. And I did notice one champion that's not here tonight, Patrick Gitter. That kind of surprised me. We do see some battling. Of course, Abner Acosta trying to hold off Brian Johnson. Of course, he's got Josh Schaffner right there behind him. JC, what does that make you feel like, having Clayton saying that he's going to be running in this series permanently? Does that make you worried?
For me, I like the race against the best because you learn so much from them on what they do each week. So I like it. Also, it'll make things even more competitive because, like you said, you got the 3 Conti cars with him, and there's like a few others that run good too. So you got like a time where you can have at least probably 7 guys that can win a race.
It definitely does a great thing for our broadcast, that's for sure. Our broadcast quality goes up whenever many different people can win the race week in and week out. It makes you want to tune in because you never. A lot of times, it used to be, I think, where one driver would win all the races. But now that's not the case. We got so many just top-level competitions. I do believe Randy Mullins just took the lead there. Matt DeCiani now in the dirty air. Now, one thing about this, when him being on old tires, He probably did. He was not as slow until he got past. Now, once he gets past, that's when those old tires are really going to start to show their wear, considering that dirty air. Here comes Clayton Hoffman to the inside, tries to get underneath Brandon Pasalacqua. There goes Jeremy Sumter. He makes a big dive underneath the 92.
And I don't know if it's just going to, I hate to disagree with you, but I don't know if his tires are that old because, by the time you really did the math, they probably had maybe 3 laps at the most on those tires. I think what you're seeing, though, Brian, is just these guys just aren't used to this race pace. And it's totally different when you're in the back and you just kind of slipping and sliding in the crack. But when you're up front, and you got to maintain that because you're actually setting the pace. I think that's what these guys are. They're going to wear themselves out.
No, yeah, I definitely. You could very easily wear yourself out, and that's the thing about it is you got all these talented drivers. I mean, they all push each other to drive harder, and that might open the door for somebody that doesn't usually win. As we see wow, look at this gaggle of racing back here. I mean, you see the 64 Darren Mullins under fire from Bender.
And Bender went up there and gave it his best shot. He tried to get up to the front, and it cost him. And he slid all the way back out of the top 10. I hope that some of these guys can actually change their fortune and be able to stay up front and kind of capitalize on that. But I just don't know if they're going to have the gas tanks to do it, Brian.
Now, of course, this stage will be completing on lap 75, going to 76. As a lot of drivers, of course, still beating and banging, battling, getting very close to that outside wall. 3 wide has been pretty much the story of the night. Look at this. I mean, these guys are fighting so hard for every single spot. And you know why? It's because they want to get these stage points. They do not give these stage points out for free. You got to earn them. You got to go against the best of the best to get these stage points, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't get them, well, you understand. If you don't finish in the top 10 in at least one stage of race, you're not even going to be in the conversation for a championship. There's no way we can talk about you in a championship if we're not talking about you at the end of these stages.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it is just so crucial to get stage points. I mean, you could win the race, or you could finish second place in the race or win the race. And, yeah, you might lock yourself in the playoffs, but the stage points, though, are so valuable. I mean, if you win 2 stages and lose the race, you gained more stage points than you would have if you won the race. I mean, it's just that, it's that valuable. When you say, JC, I mean, you race out there week in and week out. Tell us, how valuable are those stage points?
Well, they're valuable, especially if you're in the top 10 in these point standings, because you gain playoff points if you finish the top 10 in the regular season as well. And with the field this deep, yeah, every playoff point you can get will go a long way in the playoffs.
Yeah, we just totally forgot the fact that Gitter's not out here tonight, man. By the time we step it up, I mean, we've got the who's who of our racing in here on Thursday nights. I think we should just spread the word because the people are missing out on this. This is where the action's at, man, right here tonight and every Thursday night ISCA. I mean, wow. We got a heavy superstar lineup now.
No, you're 100% right. I totally agree. I mean, this is where some of the best competition is in leagues. I mean, I think right here in this series right here. I mean, we got some of the best racers. I mean, we got drivers like Clayton Hoffman. I mean, we got a bunch of 7,000 I-rated guys that show up here. But what's great about it as well is, like, you sit like JC. I think, no disrespect at all, but JC, you're not a 7,000 I-rated guy. You're kind of a little bit, towards, I'd say, what 2,000, 3,000?
I think I'm sitting at like just shy of 2,500.
2,500. So you get to come out here and you get to go to school, right? I mean, that's an awesome thing that you're able to kind of share the same track with these guys and learn from them.
Oh yeah, and when I started, like, it's been a year now. Yeah, like that first few races and stuff, I was running too hard, and I was like, maybe I need to back it off a little bit, and that's why I kind of started doing it. And I'm still learning every time because I'm still getting beat by him so bad. But you still come out here it's just a lot of track time and stuff, and you will learn a lot.
JC, I mean, Brian just talked a lot of trash about you over the seasons about your driving style and being very aggressive. Do you listen to the playbacks, and if so, I mean, what do you think about Brian's opinion of your racing style?
Like I feel like last year I was a little conservative, so I was kind of like trying to tell myself to get a little bit more aggressive, but not this much aggressive like I have been lately. So yeah, I still gotta figure things out.
I'm just a trash talker, ain't I?
Oh man, no, well, that was a joke. But Brian and I have both, especially I know I've been outspoken about your aggressiveness. So to actually, to see you kind of settle down and come into your own, that's been a pleasure to watch. But yeah, Brian Bender there really just kind of stepped on his tank a little bit.
Yeah, he was in the middle 3 wide there, lost a lot of speed. Tell you, I think Bender's another one that, if we just keep watching him for a long time, he's going to start to step it up, and he's going to learn from these other guys that are out here. And that's what I'm hoping. I mean, because he had very good qualifying speed, started up towards the front of the field, and I think that if he could figure out how to maintain the tires, I think he'd be a dangerous character. That's for sure. Now, of course, do want to go look at. There's been a battle that's kind of been coming to fruition here. We see, of course, Andrew Griesbaum. He is, look at that. He's stepping it out as he gets passed by Kyle Holden. Holden, of course, enters the top 10. Another one that was really good at qualifying with Wortman. He's starting to fall back.
I was just going to say, Griesbaum's he's got his hands full with that car tonight.
Yeah, that Ford is just not handling like
he's a wild pony.
Woo! Oh, contact. Nick King in the 3 and the 76 of Heitman. Woo! I'll tell you what, Heitman just forced his way through. He's like, I am not sitting behind you guys.
Oh, the 3 got a little sideways.
And, of course, that is the 3 of Nick King and the Blake Majulis setup shop machine. Very reminiscent of Dale Earnhardt Wrangler machine. I remember that's the old school paint scheme there. Oh, they're not done. Look at that. Greg Wyszynski, big move to the inside. Now, of course, all that's happening is for about 15th. So these guys are fighting for the mid-pack, essentially, positions. So a lot of battling going on back here. Now, I'm surprised Abner Costa, he's just ahead of this battle. I expected Abner to be up there in the mix. Of course, Abner, fantastic driver when it comes to using that brake pedal. Like when we saw him last week, I think he was pretty good at Dover. He's always good at tracks that require a brake pedal. This track doesn't require a brake pedal, though. Jeremy Sumter went to the outside wall.
But
right
Abner
in front of Passalacqua.
But Abner's trying to figure it out. He's sitting back. He is definitely a tiger that knows when to pounce. So I don't know if he's might be a little bit surprised with the speed that's going on down there tonight. Definitely, probably a lot more competitive than some of these guys were expecting.
I'll tell you, I'd say the top 10 here is kind of spread out. Kenny Powell, though, he's impressing me with his speed tonight. Up in 6th place, the 24 machine is. He's, of course, being followed by Brian Johnson. I think Powell, he's got some good speed underneath the hood here. He's running that top line up there, and, of course, running it fairly competently. I think he's going to catch up to Josh Schaffner. Last time by, he was a little bit faster than Schaffner, but he has a heavy hitter right behind him. That is Brian Johnson. Of course, Johnson has been a championship 4 member, as we see a little bit of a wiggle there from Jeremy Sumter. Sumter's handling has started going away.
Yeah, definitely. This is about the time in that last stage where Sumter was about to exit stage left. Hopefully tonight he won't have, hopefully at this stage he won't have that problem. We're about 10 laps to go here in this stage. So this is go time. Time to get the elbows out and put the pedals down, Brian, and let's see how we can shake out our luck as we try to get stage 2 in the books.
Yeah, Randy Mullins is essentially, he's dominated this stage for the most part, but I don't know for how long. I mean, because you see Clayton is eating up his tire tracks right now. He is all over the back of the 54, and when you have a driver like Clayton behind you, it is scary because you just know that this guy is so good, and if you, I mean, it's going to be hard to hold him off. But I gotta say, Randy is looking so fast though tonight. I got to give him a ton of credit. I mean, think about this: at the end of stage 1, it was him and Clayton going to battle again. So I think these two might be the ones that fight all night long, and it seems like that's what's happening so far. And I love this for Randy because, like I said, Randy last week at Dover had an abysmal showing, but I think this week he looks like he is fast and ready to go.
He's sitting there side by side, duking it out with Clayton Hoffman at the end of stage 1. The battle was so close, Brian, that you actually didn't know who had won it, neither did I. We had to go back, check the tape and the board. So, yeah, I'm thinking way to go, Randy. So just being able to lead this thing in the current company that is in, he's definitely got to be feeling pretty good about himself.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, this battle between these two have kind of brought back in Sumter. Sumter's he seems like his handling's kind of come back to him. Brandon Pasalacqua as well is right on his keister. As here comes a big move, a crossover maneuver to the inside from Randy Mullins. Of course, they are still fighting. So it's starting to heat up.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, bro.
The battling over here is starting to heat up quite substantially. Clayton Hoffman has taken the lead. As, of course, I do believe we're coming up, I think, 7 laps to go here in stage number 2. Kenny Powell has gotten passed as well by Brian Johnson. We're starting to see tire fall off be pretty substantial, almost a second of fall off at the moment. As, of course, we look back at Kenny Powell. Powell getting ready to be under fire from Matt DeCiani, I do believe. But love what I'm seeing. I'm telling you, I'm not really seeing, one team be the fastest. I feel like Clayton, of course, seems like he's a step above the rest for the most part. But I got to say, the Paradigm guys seem to be better than the Conti guys.
Yeah, you think? Here they are sitting right up there chasing Clayton Hoffman. I mean, 2 by 2 here. You got Randy Mullins and the 6 of Brandon Pasalacqua. So, yeah, definitely, I think. And Paradigm's been on point. You know, Josh Schaffner right back there in 5th. These guys are doing pretty good, Brian.
It's just, they've been on point. I agree totally. They've been incredibly good, but they haven't been good enough, I'd say, to beat the other Conti guys. I mean, so if they were in another series where those guys weren't in it, yeah, they would dominate every race. But, you know, they're in here with some of the best of the best. So it's like you can be good, but you got to be excellent to be able to come and fight toe-to-toe with some of these guys. They're going to pass Randy Pasalacqua. He jumps up in front of the 54 of Randy Mullins. And, of course, Clayton Hoffman, he's setting sail. 6 tenths, 7 tenths is his lead. As we're coming up to, I do believe, 3 laps to go in stage number 2.
Yeah, he's setting sail into the sunset.
I like what I'm seeing from Pasalacqua, though. He's always said that these were his style of tracks. I mean, I think that 6 is going to be fast here tonight, and he's clearly putting that he's showing that right now. He's putting that on display. Sumter into the wall again. Sumter's he's making pretty good friends with that wall. He doesn't hit it hard, just a little bit of a scrape, and that's just still don't want to touch it at all, to be honest with you.
Well, that's the cost of speed, and drivers know that the closer you get up there to that wall, the faster you're actually going to be able to turn your lap time. So you're almost flirting with disaster there. Little
Molly
turn
Hatchet.
from Molly Hatchet there, yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Well, I mean, if you get too close to it, though, it'll snatch you and slow you down. So, but no, I definitely agree. I mean, you want to run inches off of that wall without hitting it, which is, I got to say, look at like Clayton's doing right now. It's an art form, isn't it? It's an art form to be able to do that. As here we go, I do believe white flag going to be out in the air here in just a moment. As what a race we've seen here at Kansas.
I don't think that flag could come soon enough for the 27 Derek Jacobs, man. He is right there. You know, these guys are going to be breathing down his neck. So I think those guys are going to want to get back to the drawing board, figure out what they can do, hopefully get back up and be competitive here. Because this third stage is going to be a little bit of a doozy.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one. I mean, the race is heating up there right now for third. Tell you what, Randy Mullins is under a lot of fire. He's got a lot of pressure on him right now. he's going to be hoping that caution comes out soon because, I mean, Jeremy Sumter's looking like he's willing to do anything to take third away. Oh, contact with the wall there from Brian Johnson, but Clayton Hoffman is going to win stage number 2. And this time we didn't have to really go back to the tape and see exactly who won. Clayton won by a pretty good margin there. Brandon Pasalaco, of course, in second place. Randy Mullins in third. Jeremy Sumter in fourth. Josh Schaffner fifth. Sixth place, Brian Johnson. Seventh, Kenny Powell. Eighth, Kyle Holden. Ninth, Derek Heitman. 10th place, Tim Wortman Jr. With that, we'll take a brief step away. We'll come back and we'll talk to whoever Big Al wants to talk to.
You gotta get down to Hooters. Have a drink, catch the game. Get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come on, what you waiting for? You gotta get down to Hooters. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series race here at Kansas Speedway. Of course, we have Brandon Pasalaco going to be joining us over in the booth. Big Al is going to be standing by.
Hey, Brandon, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Big Al, I got you. How are you?
Hey, doing pretty good, man. Congratulations on a strong showing there through the first 2 stages. But if you could sum up your biggest concern right now, in one word, what would it be?
Track position. I guess that's 2 words, but it's a tough balance between having track position and not burning your tires off. So that's the battle we'll all be facing here in the last stage. I think it's better to be up front and try to save than it is to be, in 9th, 10th, and back. So we'll do our best to stay up front and take care of our stuff.
Yeah. So are you looking at tires and fuel being on the same plane? Maybe if you could kind of run this thing through for the long haul, or you think it's going to be a shorter run for you?
I'm thinking it's going to be a longer run. We've had a few races this year where the last stage was the best stage and we went green, and it's been a great race today with green flag run. So I think the team and I were preparing for a long run, and then it's just going to come down to pit strategy and who does the best. It's coming down pit road and getting tires. So what's that saying you say? You race for show, pit for dough? I think that'll be important
Absolutely. Yeah, so now you got a little bit more competition out there. So we got the 92 car that's going to be added to the fray for the remainder of the season. Are you welcoming that competition?
Yeah, for sure. Anything to make this league better, and Clayton definitely adds a ton of value to our league, and he's a tremendous driver. So it's tough. I mean, if you look at the strength of field, and especially the guys at the top of it, it's an extremely competitive field, and just be able to race with these guys week in and week out makes me and the team much better. So we appreciate everybody's efforts and everybody racing clean for the most part.
Speaking of the team, who you shouting out for your awesome running here through the first 2 stages?
Yeah, for sure. Let's hope we can keep it together. I just want to finish this race, but I want to give a shout out to the Paradigm Motorsports boys. Josh, Randy, Brian, and Clayton tags in when he's racing with us. And then got a new sponsor on the car, OB Builders Door and Trim. I'm glad to have both our cars with Randy up here in the top 3. So hopefully we can put on a good show the rest of the race for you guys.
Roger that. Good luck to you, boss. Hope we'll see you on the podium here at the end of the race.
I hope so. Thanks, Big Al.
Alrighty, that was Brandon Pasalaco, driver of the 6 machine. And we'll
Yeah,
get
there
him
you
back
hear
where
it.
he's supposed to go.
Well, there you hear it. It's track position. So that lets you know some of these guys are probably going to risk it for the biscuit because, as Brandon said, you got to be up front. Tire wear is going to be another concern. But to the guys in the rear, man, they're going to have a long night. And I think that's what we were actually thinking. JC, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like for Brandon's position being in second, yeah, he still is in a clean air spot. So as long as he can keep his car there, he'll definitely be okay. Now, if he goes back to like third or fourth, then he starts running into the dirty air situation, which will mess everything up.
Here we go, pace car down pit road as we get ready to start lap 81. And, of course, we're going to finish this race on lap 167, I do believe, to 68. But the green flag is out in the air as Clayton Hoffman up through the gears. And I think Brandon Pasalaco might be under fire here from teammate Randy Mullins, as Randy Mullins got a really good start. Pasalaco just seemed like he was caught sleeping as the rest of his Paradigm drivers seemed to drive by him, as there goes John Schaffner, who was our pole sitter early in the event.
So, JC, here's the question. Do you really get the opportunity to draft much? And how important is the draft at a mile-and-a-half track, say, like Kansas?
You do draft on these straightaways. It just depends on like how well you get off the corners compared to the car in front of you and stuff like that. Like here, if you're on the outside lane like Randy is, he's going to get a bigger run if he stays behind Clayton, which here he's got a big enough run to stay on the outside of him. So, yeah, you will draft a ton.
Seeing some pretty good battling right now for this lead. Of course, Clayton Hoffman under fire once again from Mullins. Randy Mullins has been incredibly fast. He's been one of the only drivers that's really been able to take it to Clayton Hoffman thus far. I'm also seeing some battling further back. Of course, that is Jeremy Sumter and Derek Heitman. These two have a little bit of some history, and they're right now side by side battling for sixth. I'm wondering if that history is going to show up again. A little bit of a bump draft there. Kyle Holden, teammate, bump drafting at Kansas. How about that?
I'm sitting there and I'm watching Clayton Hoffman, and the fact that he's just not willing to relinquish that too much. You can actually tell he's trying to save his tires, but he really didn't want to give up that lead spot. So that right there.
Another sideways accident, as you can see some contact. This is not a
there it is.
And there goes Jeremy Sumter, destroyed front end. That's going to probably put the end to his race. As the yellow flag is out, they were 3 wide, and he's going to take a tow. And no wonder. I mean, he's absolutely demolished the front end of that race car. And I don't think he did anything wrong there. I got to be honest. This is like it was Kenny Powell and Derek Heitman. I think Powell and Heitman kind of connected. So let's take a look at this and kind of see if we can analyze.
You're 3 wide here, you know.
But we've been 3 wide all race long, and it seems like it wasn't a problem.
Well, Jeremy pinched a little bit because he should have been on that third lane.
Yeah,
but they had it saved right here.
Well, yeah,
they were fine. But then Heitman comes down into the 24. They get connected, and the 24 goes up the track. They could have saved it after that initial touch, but I don't. Yeah, it just seemed like that's unfortunate. But yeah, you're right. I think clearly Sumter was kind of trying to pinch on the entry a little bit here. He comes down right there. Yep. Clearly, I don't know. He might not have known he was 3 wide. But that is unfortunate for Sumter. Very fast race car he had here tonight.
Well,
and I got to be honest, Sumter's kind of always had that kind of, he either wins it or he's going to wreck it.
Yeah, well, he's had some pretty interesting luck tonight because he's actually been involved in both of the cautions that we've had. So, I mean, with that, I'm taking out of the running on the over-under, but we are halfway through this thing now, so at least we got that done.
Yeah, 100%. That is heartbreaking, though, to see that for sure. Very fast race car in the 52. As he, of course, smashed. We see some drivers have elected to come down pit road. I think Matt DeCiani came down pit road. We are not within the fuel window.
But you get
quite a ways to go.
Yeah, but the more gas you get in that thing, Brian, the less time you're going to have to spend on pit road once you come back in.
And also, Matt, I do believe had an extra set of tires because he stayed out the end of stage 1.
And we are seeing Derek Heitman stay on pit road for quite a little bit of time. I think he's trying to fix some damage in that car. I think he might have got a little bit more damage than it appeared.
Yeah, he definitely was involved in that entanglement. So, and this is one of those aero tracks. So, yeah, definitely got to spend the time behind the wall to get it all kind of, banged out and smooth.
Well, Kenny didn't come down. Kenny Powell, he decided to stay out, so he must not think the damage is too severe on his race car. So we'll have to see how that. We'll keep ourselves apprised of that situation. Keep an eye on him. But definitely been an interesting one so far. Of course, 2 cautions. We still do have the opportunity for a green flag pit stop. If, of course, these guys can keep it green. I think we'll see a green flag pit stop. I'm hoping so. Randy Mullins out there in front, though. Of course, he's got Clayton Hoffman behind him, Brandy Pasalacqua. He's going to have a little bit of a better advantage, I think, on this restart, considering he started on the top side in second place. JC, how do you feel about starting on the in second place? I've always hated it.
Oh, I hate it too, because usually you're always trying to time when the leader is going to go, and sometimes, like I should say, a lot of times for me, I misjudge it and can get caught sleeping, like I think Brandon did there on that restart.
Exactly. I think it's really easy to do, especially if you don't have triples or VR or something like that. That way we can actually see that car a little bit better, because that's the thing. I always struggle with seeing that car beside me, because I race usually on a single monitor. Don't have that fancy triples like a lot of people do.
I mean,
our lights out now.
I mean, it's one of those things you even see in real life. You see the same thing, even like when you do have the view, you can still mistime it.
Yeah, you're still not
curious.
You're still not looking all over, not looking all around. You know what I mean? You especially when you're racing, you really got to keep your eye on, what's ahead on the racetrack.
Well, this is interesting. First time we've seen this so far. Randy Mullins starting up on the top. That's an interesting decision there. He knows that that's a very strong line up there. So he's elected to start from up there. That's the first time we've seen that here tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it just because I would think that Clayton is so used to starting in first place that he would have an advantage. So I'd put him up top just to make him kind of wear different shoes,
Yeah, no, I understand for sure. Now, of course, the leader always has the advantage because they're the one that times is the one that kind of sets the start in a way. So, I mean, Clayton doesn't really have an advantage down there, but I understand what you're saying to try to maybe limit his visibility of the leader, but we'll see if that works. So here we go, pace car down pit road. And Randy Mullins going to enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. And he's up to the gears. Really good start there for Randy. Catches Clayton definitely off guard. Clayton, he's got himself a really good dancing partner, though. Look at Brandon Pasalacqua. I mean, he was pushing him into the corner.
Well, Clayton's in the hornet's nest right now because he is surrounded by Paradigm. That's all he's got right there.
And it seems like Paradigm's got the best chance of winning this race here tonight. I mean, you got to keep in mind, in a lot of ways, Clayton has a technical alliance with the Paradigm drivers. I mean, he did sub in for Chris Johnson, and Brandon even alluded that they even hang out together. So I wouldn't even be surprised that Clayton is kind of almost like somewhat of a teammate of theirs in a way.
Well, look at the run that Kenny Powell is getting as he is coming up on the high side, putting the G&G cars on the board here for the first time tonight.
And you love to see it. I mean, that G&G team is a classic ISCA team who used to go out here and win championships. I mean, Kenny Powell's team has always been one of the top teams in this series, and it's good to see them back up in the mix. I think Powell has been trying to get the momentum of that team back in order, and I think he's finally starting to see that come together. One driver, I got to be honest, that I'm surprised is not doing as well as he used to is Greg Wachinski. I mean, Wachinski used to be one that was in contention for wins. Don't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. But, I mean,
just haven't seen him in contention as much lately.
Yeah, that is true. But once again, though, you got to look at the names on the board too.
Yeah. But, I mean, Kenny, he's still rising to the occasion and fighting with these same names.
Well, Kenny's leading by example, and he has to. You know, if he is not going to get out here and show the G&G guys the way, who's going to do it? So, yeah, you really got to applaud Powell for actually being able to step up to the challenge. But I think that it was more out of a necessity than it is anything else.
We see Blair Holloman, of course, in the midst of a caution is out.
Wow.
I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Well, this is getting
I think
interesting,
we got Jay
guys.
Hone, 19 machine. So that's the 19 of Jay Hone. He was the fan favorite. I think we had some people in the comments of our broadcast.
Nick King in the
really
3 car.
him on. And it looks like,
Nick
yeah,
King
the 3.
in the 3. He has got a repairs required flag.
Yeah, just it looks like the 19 and the 3 just got connected. And unfortunately, just a massive smash into the wall. Surprised the 19's still running after that hit. That was a big hit. And I think that might be where the repairs required came from for the 3. That secondary hit.
Well,
yeah, that's probably going to end some days right there, guys.
I mean, even the 3 car, his repairs requires even after he hit the wall too, because he bent that toe link, possibly broke it.
Taking another look at it. Yeah, they just got connected, and it's so hard to kind of disconnect your race cars at that point. I wonder if the 19, if he knew someone was above him.
I mean, I also look like the 3 car might have been possibly side drafting at the same time as Jay was coming up. So I don't know if that was possibly a factor.
Well, I mean, and they had cars underneath them as well. I mean, they had cars that were driving on the apron. So no, it could have been a whole lot worse of a situation as well. I mean, we could have seen multiple cars get involved, or more than just 2. But that does bring us to a caution. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with some more racing here at Kansas.
You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come on, what you waiting for? You gotta get down to Hooters. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA. Definitely an exciting race here at Kansas, that's for sure. Randy Mullins, of course, out front. If you're just joining us, we just saw an accident between, I do believe, Jay Holm as well as Nick King. They had some contact, smashed into the wall. Of course, both of those drivers, I do believe, are having some required repairs. Randy Mullins, though, out front with Clayton Hoffman on the inside. They're getting ready to get back under green flag racing. I do believe we're going to have 70 laps to go when the green flag flies here.
Ooh, what's the fuel window?
Fuel window is 62 laps.
All right, a lot of action down on pit road, but these guys still aren't going to be able to make it. But we're going to be watching and see how those decisions are going to impact their race.
And if we have another caution, I think it's going to be a lot more likely that some people could make it. As here we go into the Geico restart zone. Green flag. Back out in the air. Randy Mullins with a tremendous restart there. Of course, Josh Schaffner able to take advantage of starting behind the 54. Schaffner, of course, started on the pole here for this race. Now, I got to be honest, Schaffner has had, I think, some bad luck this season. And it looks like he's trying to turn that bad luck around.
Yeah, definitely hadn't been talking a lot about Josh. You know, that I think that would be more about this season's tales. We have not been talking a lot about Josh. So hopefully he can turn his woes around. But the Paradigm team, they've definitely been pretty strong. So he's definitely got a pretty strong cast of supporting characters.
No, he definitely does. I just think he's ran into some bad luck, hitting, walls and cars and everything else. So I just think that it's just been just unfortunate. Some bad race after bad race. But hopefully that today will be a little bit of a different story. But he is under fire right now from Kyle Holden. I know Kyle Holden has been a driver that has been quietly running very well this season. I mean, he's gotten a lot of impressive finishes from what I've seen. I mean, I think he even got himself a fourth-place finish recently. I mean, he almost had a second. Remember that battle between him, I think, Derek Heitman a couple weeks ago. And here comes...
Sorry, you mentioned about Josh Schaffner. He won both Kansas races last year, so he knows how to get around this track.
Yeah, he definitely does. But, and that just shows maybe the level of competition we have here. And, of course, we had a really high level of competition last year as well. So I wonder what's different about Schaffner this year, JC. What do you think? As we see a big three-wide battle right now for second place.
Well, one thing that's different is iRacing continuously evolves with things like the track surfaces and the changes of the grooves and stuff like that. And also, they recently, I think it was like last month, iRacing changed the gear ratio settings to where we're not wide open with the gear ratios like we once was. So we're kind of like limited on that. So that plays a key in setups and speed and all that.
Yeah, definitely could have something to do with it for sure. And of course, Randy Mullen leads the way. Kyle Holden, though, has driven his way up to second place. Clayton Hoffman falls back to fifth. Now, Hoffman has said previously that he's going to be trying to save tire. Do you think that's what's happening here, Big Al?
I think he's saving tire and he's saving fuel because remember, these guys are still owe us one more trip down pit road, Brian, and that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to, especially if this thing stays green, it's going to come down to just how long you stay down on pit road. You got to get clean in, clean out, but it's going to be about how much time you spend in the box.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a very good point. As we see, of course, Clayton Hoffman trying to hold off. I do believe that's Abner Acosta. We haven't seen a whole lot of the 55 up in the top 10 here as of late, but now he's up here and in the midst of a battle with Clayton and Matt DeCiani. DeCiani, of course, riding right around the top side.
I think
DeCiani,
Abner,
I do believe, one of the top points guys right now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Abner was actually able to squeak by with a top 10 on that last stage, but I definitely believe he is going to be more kind of operated towards finishing this last stage sequence high. I think he was just kind of watching to see everybody else play their cards, and he was just kind of keeping his hand close. But I definitely think you're going to see Abner Acosta try to run up to the front of this thing before we're done.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a distinct possible. Yellow flag is back out
again. Now this will negate. I do believe this will negate our chances for having a green flag pit stop, because this is going to make everybody able to finish this thing on fuel.
Yeah, I think we're reading possibly Frank Flores.
Frank not having a good night tonight.
No, not at all. And it looks like him
Hey.
and Greg Wachinski
Looks like he got
possibly
put in
coming to some contact.
Looks like he got put in a spin cycle.
Yeah, that's unfortunate right there. And I think that's the 48 of Jose Medina right there as well. So yeah, just
Yeah, not a
they're
good
just
night
too
for
close.
Flores.
That is really too close right there. You see Greg underneath, of course.
Well, the good news is Frank will race. He'll live to race another day and a couple more laps. No massive damage to his car. I think that's probably the best news you could get. You come to a track like Kansas, you're involved in 2 skirmishes, and you come out unscathed. I think you're going to be okay. Pit road super busy right now, guys. Lottie Dottie and everybody.
Well, I mean, this makes total sense. I mean, these guys, they probably can make it from here. I mean, the estimated fuel window is about 62 laps, and we're about
You taking tires?
60 laps. Yeah, I mean,
You taking tires or just fuel?
I mean, I don't know. We haven't really been too hard on the tires, but I think the majority of the drivers out here did take tires. I think some guys have, and I like this call. I mean, we haven't. Some guys decided not to take tires. Kenny Powell, Darren Mullins. I actually like that call because if you haven't been doing a lot of work on those tires, track position. We've already heard it from other drivers how valuable it is, Big Al.
And if you got your car dialed in for that long run, because remember, Clayton said himself, man, he was good to go on the long run. Be a little bit worried about the short run. So if you know that your car is set up to run a tank of gas, I think that's the best call you could make.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, this is we know Powell has got a fast race car. Clearly, he's he's been able to be mix it up in the top 10, and I think clean air is going to help his chances a lot as
That's
well.
what Brandon
Now, Darren
said.
Mullins. Now, Darren, I don't know about Darren. I have not seen. I've seen him in the I think around the 15th position quite a bit here tonight. I'm not sure how fast that car is. We'll see. We do know Darren a lot of times is fast if you put him in the right position.
There's something else I know about Darren also, and that is he is not an easy dude to pass.
That is true, and sometimes that's just what you need, especially for if you're a Kenny Powell. But of course, Jay Hone, I do believe, staying out to get himself a lap back. So glad that he's still in here racing. Surprised that car is still running after that hard hit he took in the caution before last one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but what do you do, man? It's still got gas in it. It's still crank. You just get it to go around the track, right? Man,
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
excited here. Getting 60 laps to go. I think we're going to be just under that once we go green flag racing again. But I think this
we
is
all
going
were
to be
wrong,
anybody.
though. I think we all have been wrong about the caution. I mean,
Yeah, that's one thing
you
I don't
said
mind being
one.
wrong with.
You said
I said
one. I
one.
said 2. JC said 3. I'm pretty sure we just had our 4th.
There it is. And we said all of them.
Yep. So, and cautions breed caution. So we'll see.
Looks like
how this
19
goes.
getting his lap back. That's going to make him feel pretty good, as he is the lucky dog. Lining these things up 2 by 2. Kenny Powell looks like he's going to be on the front row. He's got to be feeling pretty good about that, Brian, especially what we keep hearing about how clean air matters so much here.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, that's got to be awesome, JC, to see your team owner up in the lead right now.
Oh yeah, that's always nice to see. And I'm sure he probably took 2 tires while he was down pit road, so that way he keeps the tires a little bit fresh.
Well, no, he actually spent 5 seconds in the box. So
5 seconds, so yeah.
That's no tires.
That's no tires. So he'll have to really do some extra fuel or tire saving here.
Yeah, I don't think they had a very long run there. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure these guys probably only have like a handful of laps on their tires. So, we'll see how that works out. And, of course, I think early they're going to be fine. But if they have to go the long haul, that's when it's going to be a lot more visible, the effect. But clean air couldn't negate that effect, though. And there is the green flag. Kenny Powell up through the gears.
He wasted no time, Brian, getting a launch going there. It's almost like this dude's got something on his mind. I think he knew his best shot of preserving his lead is to actually get his legs stretched out as early and fast as he can, and then just wait and see what happens. Whatever comes after that comes.
Well, here comes the battle between the Randy, the father-son duo, Darren and Randy. The Mullinses are fighting right here, and you know how hard it is to pass Darren, and Randy's even mentioned that himself, I do believe. He's like, it's hard to pass my dad.
Yeah, and he's not, he's up front, so he has never been a guy that got up front to say, hey, yeah, I just want to go back to the back. I think he's going to try to stay up front as long as he can, so good on you.
And it looks like Darren is going to manage to defend against Randy. A little bit of slow car on the bottom there. Of course, that was Tim Wortman Jr. in the 83. That was kind of a scary thing right there. You see, of course, Brandon Passalacqua trying to work his way up to Randy Mullen. Now, I do believe we might have had an issue.
We got a couple guys with black flags. Paul Olsen had a black flag. Tim Wortman Jr. had a black flag. So those guys serving black flags.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think just a black flag.
They were bad boys on pit road. Olsen now serving his as well.
Yeah, it seems like they just made a mistake on maybe on pit road or possibly got a passing under yellow. Could have been the case. But Kenny Powell under fire right now from Darren Mullins. Darren Mullins looking like he's got some speed. I tell you what, I mean, I even said it. I was like, we haven't seen this guy. He's been in the mid-pack. You never know what kind of speed the 64's got. When you put him in the right position, he might surprise you, and I think he's doing exactly that right now.
I think the surprise is actually going to come on those guys. I don't think they're the surprise. If you look back, it's not that they're faster than everybody else, Brian. It's that everybody else is in conservation mode. They are saving their tires because this is going to be the longest run of the evening. If this thing stays green, you still got to be able to control this thing. You might not get another opportunity to come back down pit road. So, I'm watching the guys that are behind these two. These two pushing each other. They're racing really hard. Just a little bit too soon for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they're also on the tire deficit. I mean, they have a little bit more worn tires. And now Kenny Powell's coming up on some lap traffic. You see Tim Wortman Jr., he's, of course, going to be fighting to try to stay on. I think he's a lap down.
Yeah, he had the black flag, but here's the one thing that he's got. He's got fresh tires, so he should be able, well, depending on his speed, what he's been running, but hopefully he'll be able to stay out in front of these guys, Brian.
Well, that's the problem, though, Big Al. If he stays out in front of these guys, he's dumping dirty air on Kenny Powell, and that's not good for tire wear. So, I mean, that's my concern here, and I bet that's Kenny's concern, too.
Yeah, Kenny's not happy right now.
Well, even once he gets past Wortman, he's still got to deal with Olsen.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's just going to hurt his tires more and more. So Kenny's going to be at a little bit of a. He's not going to, usually the leader has the advantage of clean air. No one has that advantage right now because there's a lap car that's just as fast as everybody else.
Yeah, Paul Olsen has clean air to spare.
Well, yeah. Well, it's not really helping him out very much, so because he's not in the lead. But Kenny Powell, though, They are doing pretty good. They're starting to pull away from the rest of the field, but I think you're right, Big Al. I think you're 100% right. I think a lot of these other drivers are saving. Because, I mean, clearly they should be able to catch up to Kenny and Darren and be able to pass them, but they're not. And you can clearly see that there's a reason for that. They're saving their equipment. They're saving their tires. They know that that's the key to winning this race, the long run.
And we've seen that, Brian. We've seen, I mean, these guys are misers. We've seen these guys, especially the Abner Acostas and the Clayton Hoffmans and even the Josh Schaffners that go into conservation mode, man. And
I'm looking at somebody that ain't in conservation mode at all. Look at John Bender right now.
Well, but
Bender is flying. He is 30.5 last time by. He is a half a second faster than everybody else right now.
But Bender has done this through the last Bender has done this through the last two stages. You know, he is his own worst enemy right now. This is a time where he should be in conservation mode, but you see, he's out there running. I mean, he's trying to run the tires off of this thing.
If he had a 10-lap run, like if we just had a 10-lap run at the end, I think Bender could win it. He's flying, dude. Like,
he's all hopped up on Sundrop.
Look at that thing. That thing is getting it. Like, he is flying up there. I mean, fast lap after fast lap. Here comes John Bender. I mean, he just passed up to third right here. If we get us a short run at the end, he's got a set of tires left. Watch out for John Bender, y'all.
Well, I agree with you, but I disagree with you, and I'm going to actually even bring in my buddy JC on this one. I still think that Bender's fast, but I don't think he's fast at the right time. I mean, help me out here, JC.
Yeah, it's way too early, and I'll add to this. See, when we're all out here practicing for these long runs, we go basically about what we think the longest green flag run would be in this. And a race like tonight, we would figure about 45 laps. And here we're restarting with 55 laps to go.
60.
So 60. So it's like, yeah, so you're talking another 15 laps longer than what we practiced on. So that's why you see a lot of conservation going on.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys did not expect to have to go this long of a run. As you saw a little bit of battle in there between Kyle Holden and Derek Heitman. Of course, Heitman, he has been in probably every position there is in this race. I mean, he's been to the back, he's been to the front. I mean, he's definitely been everywhere. I mean, of course, this is his first time here. Wow, okay. I thought I was going to get something from Big Al on that one.
What's that?
I was saying it was Derek Heitman's first time here, so no wonder he's been all throughout the field.
What, Heitman's here?
This is his first time in this race. Or
Yeah,
in Kansas.
I'm saying that. I mean, we've never seen him here before. So
Look at this, though. Heitman bump drafting Kyle Holden right now. This is a pretty big battle right now for the fourth position. As we were looking at a pretty good single file train right now. You see the 54 jumps to the inside of the 59. Holden, of course, has that top line. That's the defending line around Kansas Motor Speedway. We're coming up. Oh, they're getting close. Touching a little bit there. These guys are battling hard. You can tell Kyle wants it badly. Running that middle groove. Look at the center speed he's got right there. Can he maintain it on exit is my question, and he does. Kyle Holden up the fourth. Derek Heitman, of course, following on the bottom side. You see the 54 tries to use the top side. Wow, I love that from the 54. He uses the top side to generate a run on exit of 4 and then jumps down below the 59. Well played, but not going to be able to get the pass. Randy, such a fast driver, has a lot of tools in his bag, just not able to complete the pass there.
Kenny Powell slowly getting reeled in by the rest of the field as these guys are going to start to stack up. Looks like the 83 and the 43 are going to actually be able to maintain their position out front. So
Powell's actually running pretty good laps right now. I got to give him some credit. 31.052. I mean, he's one of the faster cars on the track. He's running fast enough to lead this race. That's for sure.
And he's slowly catching up with 43 of Paul Osen. So those two should, once they get together, I think they might be okay, Brian.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. I mean, we still got so long to go. We just hit 40 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. So it's still a long way to go. And who's to say Kenny Powell's tires hold on that long?
Which is longer than both of the previous two stages, right? Stage one was 35. I think stage two was right at 40. So
this is going to be a daunting task. This is going to push these cars to the absolute limit. Side by side, though, is fourth place, Kyle Holden, Derek Heitman. As you can see, they're dueling back and forth. Derek Heitman, known to be one of the best drivers in this series, has won so many races in this series. I mean, this guy has won almost everything you can think of.
Man, if this thing if we don't get another caution, I want to see how this plays out. I mean, because Kenny is, he's doing everything he needs to do out front. When is too late? It's the question. I guess that's what I'm wondering. JC, what do you think about that? Because at some point, you're going to have to engage, and you can't let this guy get out there too far, and you might be waiting on a late race caution, but you still got to keep him within an arm's reach, right?
Well, when you know that you have the fresher tires than him, you still want to save as much as you can. And what's going to happen is Kenny and Darren and even John will eventually backtrack to them. So that's why they're just waiting for that to happen.
Well, I mean, I can agree with you, but I think that might not happen, though, because look at the battling that these guys, the guys are battling so hard for fourth right now that they might not catch Kenny and Darren because they're so preoccupied battling each other. It's slowing them down, JC. Do you see that?
I mean, yeah, battling does slow you down a little bit, but eventually, like, when you still got like 30 or 40 laps to go, it will settle itself out, and then you'll get spread out enough to where you'll start reeling them in one by one.
We'll see. I mean, everybody's just so close on pace.
I mean, you see Randy now starting to pull away from there, so he's broke away from the pack. It will just take some time, and he'll eventually get around John here, and then catch his dad Darren.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I just was saying if they stayed fighting with one another, it might not have been the case. But now, clearly, yeah, Darren has gotten caught by John, and John has gotten caught by Randy. So I think Kenny's probably seeing that as well, and realizing that, hey, my days are numbered. I need something to happen here. So no, I definitely agree with you. But if they had stayed battling, I think it would have been a whole lot harder. And, of course, it's not going to be easy to pass the likes of Darren Mullins or John Bender. I mean, these guys are not going to want to get past here. They want to get these finishes. I mean, this would be some of the best finishes they've ever gotten. I mean, of course, Darren, I think he's finished on the podium a couple times. But John Bender, never. So, I mean, this would be a banner day for the 23 team. Oh, and the wall goes to 23. Just a hair. Doesn't really slow him down too much.
But we got to keep watching because we got a long way to go. 33 laps to be precise. And I don't know if all of those are going to be under green flag conditions because Brian and JC, as these tires start to get more and more worn, these drivers, and we've seen it happen already, you just don't have that laser precision that you want to be able to just carve through a corner. So these cars, we've seen them like slide up. We've seen them do all kinds of things.
Yeah, you can see John Bender. He's not handling very well right now.
Yeah, we're getting to that point of the run where, the cars are starting to handle either a little bit loose or a little bit tight, depending on what your setup is. And also, it's also the point, too, where if there's a fast car on the outside, a slower car on the outside, but you try to pass on the inside. We're at the point now where that car on the outside can still keep momentum and stay out in front. So passing is even harder now than what it was on the fresh tires.
Yep, you see the 64 slowly starting to fall back. Kenny Powell still doing his thing out in front, but I'm starting to hear that theme music from Jaws, you know, as Clayton Hoffman and Abner Acosta are starting to be on the move.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. You know, Brandon Pastelacqua right now is the fastest car on the track. 31.173 last time by. Of course, he's followed by Derek Heitman, and Heitman's, of course, turning some really good laps too. So, no, I mean, the Jaws teams are definitely starting to play in Kenny Pounce's ears. Of course, he's got over a second on these guys, though, 1.3. But he's going to slowly see that time start to whittle down.
His tires are older. Yeah, he's got a lot of. I mean, I'm rooting for Kenny. Don't get me wrong. He pays to keep the light on, but I think he's got a lot of things stacked against him right now.
Well, I mean, I think if he got a caution right now, Kenny would be like he won the lottery. Because I mean, if he's able to go down there and grab a set of tires, oh yeah, I think this race would be Kenny could win this race. At this moment right now, the hourglass is starting to run out. But if he gets a caution before they pass him, it's possible he wins this race. It really depends on, though, how many tires he's got left. I mean, Kenny Powell's pitted 5 times. Last time he pitted, though, he did not take tires, so he should have one set left. Yeah, I do believe he's got one set left.
And that might be why he took no tires here, so that way he still had one set for the end.
I think the majority of the field's got one set left.
How did Kenny run into a tire deficiency?
I don't know. I think most of the guys out here are kind of at that point where they only have one set or 2 left.
Yeah, but I mean,
man, look at that! You see that? Brandon Pastelacqua just pushing Derek Heitman on the front stretch, and that sent Heitman up into the outside wall. Clayton Hoffman takes advantage of it 3 wide up on top. The battling has gotten really intense here.
It's going to be. It's where you're encroaching on 25 to go. Right now we're at 27. But once we get down into this, you know, that window to go is starting to get slower. It's a law of diminishing returns right now. So you're starting to panic a little bit now.
I mean, these guys are racing so hard. I mean, I want the heaviest racing right now, the most intense racing is going on between Brandon Pastelacqua and Derek Heitman. I mean, these two are racing each other like they do not like each other at the moment. Pastelacqua has gotten by the 76, and I think the 76 is just not handling well. I don't think Heitman is handling as good as he usually does.
But neither is the 24, because the 54 of Randy Mullins is I mean, he is all in Kenny's business right now.
Yeah, Randy has better tires. Randy Mullins is the fastest car on the track right now. 31.147 last time by. He's incredibly fast. This 54 has a real chance of winning this race here tonight. And I got to be honest. I know a lot of people were kind of upset with me when I was talking about how when Michael Conti subbed for Randy Mullins and got that win. And I said that I had said this a couple times that Randy had such a good points position because of Michael Conti's finish. But that was a lie. That was not the truth. Randy Mullins earned point position. It was just one race, exactly. So I was wrong to say that. And I think that this would be the proof in the pudding right here if Randy comes out here and wins this race. Don't you agree?
Well, right now, though, it's still early. We know his car is fast through this stage, this segment, because this was about the time where he was racing Clayton Hoffman for the stage 1 win.
That's true.
But he's got to maintain this, Brian. There's still some big sharks back there that, I mean, I'm just telling you. I mean,
Clayton's back there.
Abner's back there. Matt DeCiani. I mean, anybody back there is a threat right now.
No, I agree. And I think his biggest threat is probably Clayton Hoffman, though. I mean, but then again, I mean, we heard Brandon, and I want to talk about, Schaffner. Brandon, no, JC, you said this, that Schaffner won Kansas both times last year.
Right.
So who's to say he doesn't just come out of nowhere on this last 20 laps? I mean, he's 1.7 seconds back from the lead. That's not an insurmountable amount of distance.
Yeah, but Clayton Hoffman and Abner Acosta weren't in either one of those races last year either.
I'm just saying that there are some heavy, like I'm agreeing with you. There's heavy hitters in this series. But look at Kenny Powell. He's resurging. Kenny Powell's not out of this yet either. He has kept pace with Mullins. Got to give him some credit there. I think he's been able to somehow save tire in the tire tracks to the 54.
Still, I mean, this is about the time where guys are starting to like you're rolling through the playbook because you're really having to make some decisions right now, Brian. Because I think these guys are starting to get into uncharted territory. I don't think they thought they were going to be here.
No, I don't think so. And lap traffic is really starting to impact this race. Frank Flores just slowed the 54 down a lot. Randy Mullins had to get out of the gas in order to avoid hitting the 8. And that, did you see the check up? Did you see who caught up that quickly because of that? Clayton Hoffman.
Look who's in the frame right now. There's that shark that nobody knew was in the water.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Clayton caught up very quickly because of that lap car. And that's all it takes. I mean, there's another lap car coming up, I think Paul Olson. So, I mean, yeah. Randy still got the lead for now, but for how long? There's that Jaws team is starting to play. Clayton has been the best on the long runs.
Randy's got to believe in himself here. I mean, because this is one of those things. This is the moment that you've always wanted. This is what you train for. This is what this is what you practice for. I'm coming around turn 4, Clayton Hoffman in the rear. Yeah, I mean, so he's got to step up to this because, I mean, the only one that's going to win this for Randy is Randy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Great, awesome job from Paul Olson. He just goes down. I really respect that. Get out of the way of this race for this win. Josh Schaffner, though, and Matt DeCiani, heated battle right now for 5th. See Schaffner riding on the dog leg, trying to hold off that one machine. Got to give some credit to Dylan Banks. I tell you, Dylan Banks started up in 2nd place, and he was like a non-factor for a lot of the race. And you know, he's gotten back up into the fight though, up in 6th or 7th right now. Got to give that 70 machine quite a lot of credit as we watch this battle for 5th.
Yeah, right there, back up to the
battle
front.
For the lead though.
Yeah, looked like Randy got a little. Willie there, I think maybe it's the best word for it. And Clayton was actually able to roll right by him. You know, once again, we double back down on what we were saying. These guys have been out there for a while. They got a lot of laps on their tires. These cars are not cars, and you know, it's not like you're out there with figure skates on. It's like you're out there with 2x4s on.
No, these. They definitely, I'd say their tire wear is significant. I mean, I know that Kansas is it's like a cheese grater the way it burns tires up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys are hearing their spotters telling them that, hey, we're having a tire going bad. A lot of times your spotter in iRacing will tell you that, hey, you know, you're wearing this tire out. That usually means it's about half, 50% wear on the tire. So I would not be surprised that some of these drivers are getting that warning that, hey, you need to take it a little easier.
And I know you probably go back and you're like, this thing's always cutting me off. But the time to start not hearing that message was freaking 40 laps ago. You know what I mean? If you were out there driving that hard 35 laps to 40 laps ago, you're going to hear that message. There's no way around it.
Yeah, and this is the time in the race when a lot of these guys are getting a lot more antsy and wanting to get aggressive. But this is the time when their cars won't allow them to get aggressive. That's the sad part about it is, these guys are like, man, the end of the race is coming up. It's a hop, skip, and jump down the road, but I can't do nothing. My car, if I try to drive on the bottom, it just wants to step out on me. But I'll tell you what, Abner and Dylan Banks are still going at it.
And some of these guys, I mean, they've done all weekend. You know, when you pull that thing off the trailer, it's either a sled or a brick, you know, and some guys have just been struggling. Some guys have been fast. Some guys have gotten fast, but this is where it counts. What you do right now in the next 12 laps is the only thing that matters about the whole weekend.
So like Kenny Powell's getting ready to get passed by Josh Schaffner. Just a little bit of crossover. Woo! Schaffner sends him down through into the grass. Kenny Powell able to keep it pointed in the right direction. You can see how Powell was trying to do a crossover. Powell was trying to do a crossover. There just was no room.
I don't think Powell has I don't think he has the good years left. I think his best years are in front of him or behind him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think he has good years left.
Well, here we go to 10 laps to go. Clayton Hoffman has won Stage 1 and Stage 2. And I think he's in pretty good position to win the race. But I don't know, though. There is a driver that is really doing a fantastic job keeping up with him, and that is Brandon Pasalacqua. Pasalacqua's 2/10 back from the 92. This is not done yet. Pasalacqua he's got really good long run pace right now. He's following right in the tire tracks.
Yeah, he is doing everything that he needs to do, Brian. Number one, he is putting the pressure on Clayton. So if Clayton was just going to come out here like he did in the second stage, that is not the case at all, because he is literally having to watch what he's doing. Because look at Pasalacqua right now.
Yeah, I mean, Clayton's getting really close to the wall. I think that car is getting tight. I don't think that car's handling as good as it was earlier in this race. I think the 6 has got a chance. I really do, because, I mean, you can see just how close to the wall Clayton's getting. All it takes is one little scrape on that wall, slows him down enough, and that gives Pasalacqua a chance.
And they're running different lines. Brandon's actually cutting down lower towards that white line. Clayton is actually flirting more on the Molly Hatchet, flirting with the disaster side, staying up on that high side. But I mean, yeah, if anybody was going to give Clayton any run for his money, it's got to be Brandon. Go, Brandon. Let's go,
I'm
Brandon.
Rooting for this guy. I'm rooting for this guy right now, the 6 of Brandon Pasalacqua. I mean, he's definitely putting on a show right here, and I gotta say, I mean, this is one of Brandon's best performances. I gotta say, I mean, and we were glad to be able to talk. Glad you were able to talk to him. I think we're gonna get a chance to talk to him again. Really good lap that last time by 31.289 versus Clayton Hoffman's 31.338. That was a very good lap from Pasalacqua, and he is starting to build momentum. Look at this. He is starting to go edge side by side possibly, but it's going to be hard to pass. Kansas, especially on the older tires, very hard to pass, right, JC?
Yeah, it's extremely hard, especially this part of the run where the tires are pretty much dead now. But what you're seeing with Clayton is by him running high and sometimes a little bit lower, he's trying to make sure Brandon's on the seam as we got a battle for lead right now.
Yeah, Brandon, I think Brandon might have it. Really close to almost taking this lead away. He's coming up to 5 laps to go. The 6 just surged ahead.
So
and I think he might. No, he's not going to lead that lap. He was close to leading that lap.
So right now, Clayton Hoffman he is like in de facto mode. He just got to figure out how does he get by Brandon. But Brandon has been putting down the faster laps with 5 laps to go. He has slowly made his way up. I just hope that he has enough left to still be in contention, Brian.
Yeah, he's got to build the run at just the right time. That's the thing. It's like even though he might – oh, there's that wall. Clayton Hoffman into the outside wall out of turn 4. And Brandon leads that time. And I think he's going to slide right up in front. Brandon Pasalacqua might have just won this race. Clayton Hoffman, can he recover and finish second at least?
The wall taketh, the wall giveth away. We've been talking about that. I actually said Molly Hatchet flirting with disaster, baby. That's what Clayton's been doing most of the night, and it looks like it just finally reached out there and grabbed him. It makes one last dash for it, trying to get up on Brandon's bumper.
Well, you got to keep in mind, when Brandon is now in front of Clayton Hoffman. That's a scary feeling to be in front of the 92. A lot of times, I tell you, the anxiety gets the worst when you're in the lead. For me, I know whenever I'm in a race and I'm in the lead, that's when I make the most mistakes. And also, Brandon's in clean air. It's actually, it can be difficult to change the handling from clean air to, oh, there's the wall again for Clayton. That might be sealing it right there.
But like I said, though, this is the moment that you've been practicing for, preparing for your whole life. You know, Clayton Hoffman behind me, 5 laps to go. Now, look, 2 laps to go, Clayton's not there no more. And just like that, looks like Big Al is going to get to interview Clayton Hoffman. Do you understand what that means?
Oh, yeah, that's good. I mean, look at I gotta give a ton of credit to Paradigm here tonight. As we're coming up to the white flag. I mean, look, Paradigm's in first, third, fourth.
Well, they led essentially. I mean, Kenny Powell led a good chunk of this, but it was Paradigm that was up front for the majority of these laps.
I think they saw how good Conti has been, and they just like, you know what, we can't let these guys do this. We got to come out here and show them what is what. White flag is waving out in the air for Brandon Pasalacqua as he gets ready to come 2, 3, and 4.
You know, he has got to be feeling the best right now. The best Clayton Hoffman at any track is going to be pretty dang good on your resume.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a big accomplishment. Brandon. It's a huge accomplishment to be able to beat someone like Clayton Hoffman. And Brandon Pasalacqua was able to get it done here at Kansas. What a fantastic performance.
And not trying to overshadow anybody else's performance either. It was just a great epic battle for the lead. We went this thing. We took it the longest run of the night there for that last segment and gave the people what we really wanted. I mean, we didn't have to have green flag pit stops, but we took it all the way home on some busted Goodyears.
That we did. Well, let's go ahead and do a quick rundown through the finishing order here. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua able to get a fantastic finish here tonight. Really great stage points here all night long. This is going to be a big day for him. Clayton Hoffman, of course, comes home in second place. Who would have thunk it? Clayton in second. Josh Schaffer finishes in third place. Really great day for the Paradigm boys. Speaking of Paradigm, Randy Mullins finishes fourth. Matt Nisiani carrying the flag there from Team Conti finishes fifth. Kenny Powell, what an awesome day for him. He finishes in sixth. Abner Acosta in seventh. Brian Johnson in eighth. Dylan Banks in ninth place. Derek Heitman rounds out the top 10.
11th place is going to be Randy Belt. 12th, Mark Sanchez and Greg Wachinski in 13th. Blair Holloman brings it home in 14th with Kyle Holden in 15th. Shane Parrish sees himself home in 16th. Randy Drumhiller, 17th. Andrew Griesbaum comes home in 18th. 19th place Jose Medina. And Alexander Carr rounds out the top 20.
Darren Mullins finishes in 21st. John Bender in 22nd. Greg Carr 23rd. Frank Flores 24th. Jay Hone in 25th. 26th, Tim Wortman Jr. 27th, Paul Olson. 28th, Derek Jacobs. 29th, Nick King. And rounding out this 30-car field, Jeremy Sumter. With that, we're going to take a brief step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back with our top three.
You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come on, what you waiting for? You gotta get down to Hooters. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a iRace or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
He's got away with words, I'll tell you what. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA race here at Kansas Speedway. What an action-packed race we saw here tonight. Of course, we're going to go ahead and start right into our interviews. Josh Schaffner, of course, our third-place finisher, is going to be standing by with J.C. Evans. J.C., you have the floor.
Josh Schaffner's JC Evans in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, JC.
Hey, congratulations on your third place finish. I see that the Paradigm guys showed up well tonight. You guys were running real strong tonight. Tell me how your car was handling today.
Yeah, overall, the car's been really good all week. It was kind of a unique race. I was probably set up quite a bit better for the long run than the short run, which made the stages a little bit interesting, just trying to maintain track position, but also, kind of maintain the pace there. But the race kind of played into my hand, having that caution in stage 3 and then having a long run, which I thought that'd be my best chance. I gave up a little more track position than I wanted to start that stint, but the handling came in like I thought it would around lap 30, and we drove back to third, and pretty happy with that run tonight.
Yeah, I was telling Brian about how last year you swept both these races last year, so I told him you knew how to get around this track, so I gave you that.
Yeah, it had good success here last year, and some success carried over. But Brandon and Clayton drove great races, and congratulations to Brandon on the win, and Clayton running second there. And it was nice for all the Paradigm drivers to have a strong finish. And Randy was right there, and Brian wasn't too far behind there either. But I know he struggled with track position stage 3 too, but able to crawl back up to 8th place, which was great to see.
Okay, next week we are at Darlington, Too Tough to Tame. What's your thoughts of that race next week?
I really enjoyed the track, one of my favorite tracks on iRacing, and I'd put some laps in there. Usually have solid runs there. I just enjoy racing there, kind of regardless of where I finish. And we'll just go out there and race the racetrack, see what the setup's got, and hopefully, come home with a top 10 finish. And it's tough to get good finishes in this league. It's been a long time since I've been on the podium, but it's great to see all the great drivers out and how strong the league is right now. But it's a challenge, but that challenge is a lot of fun as well.
And before I let you go, who are you going to give a shout out to tonight?
I want to first off just thank all my teammates at Paradigm Motorsports. Appreciate all their support, and I've been absent quite a bit the first part of the season here, and those guys help me out quite a bit when I'm busy, whether traveling or spending time with my family and kids, and also the planning season, which is in full force right now. And just want to thank them. Want to thank all our great drivers in the league. Want to thank everyone in the booth, and Brian and yourself, and Big Al, Kenny, for putting on a great league. Also, just always want to shout out our great drivers that come out every week. And just also want to shout out our farmers. Special thanks to Pioneer Seeds. They're always a great supporter of us. And, if you're out on the highway right now, just be patient. Planting season's under full swing, but I always want to have a safety message there as we're busy and in the fields this time of year.
Okay, thank you for talking to us tonight. Congrats on your third place finish. We'll see you next week at Darlington.
Thank you.
All righty, that was Josh Schaffner, driver of the 50 machine. Next up, Clayton Hoffman is going to be standing by with Big Al.
Clayton Hoffman, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Almost got it done. You swept stage 1, stage 2, just came up a little bit short on stage 3. So once that thing got down to the long run there, what were you thinking once you knew it was going to go all the way?
I was praying that I saved enough tire, which I evidently did not. So, just came up a little bit short, made a couple of mistakes. That's just what it is.
Now, did you practice for long runs at all? I mean, was that something that you guys were concerned about, or did you think maybe you were going to, was your car basically set up for longer runs?
I wouldn't say it was set up for a full 60 lap run. I think that was the first one I've done this week. but I've done 40 and 50 lap runs, and I knew it'd be decent. The track here was a little bit looser than I expected going in, and it did not tighten up as much as I expected to during the race. So yeah, I was a little bit on the free side, which when I got that clean air and led some of those laps there after I got by Randy, I think that was kind of my downfall. I had to save right rear to the end, otherwise I wasn't going to have nothing left.
How do you feel the car's handling this year as opposed to like last year?
It's the at the 1.5 miles, it's the exact same. It's just kind of setup development where the car is newer and people are still finding stuff in the setups to make them drive better, go faster. So yeah, setups are different, fall off's a little bit different, hot laps a little bit different, but overall 1.5 miles are basically the exact same.
Okay, so next week we head to Darlington, which is it's pretty much a very unique track. Anything you guys got that differently to approach Darlington?
I don't have anything really different right now. I'll probably start working on Darlington this weekend. So yeah, I don't have anything special right now. So I'll have to find something out.
What would be your favorite track?
Not probably in this car, but I know back when I raced the Gen 6 car, it was definitely Atlanta, the old Atlanta. These cars that we have now, they're not that fun to drive, honestly. They're very edgy, and you can't drive off the right rear like you can drive those other cars. So yeah, probably still be 1.5 miles. Ones that we go to now, it's probably Kansas, honestly. I used to love ripping the fence, but yeah, with this car, it's not as fun as it used to be. I still like ripping the fence. I really liked being able to do that. So yeah, probably Kansas.
As you were up on that fence tonight, boss. Well, congratulations again on your second place finish. Who you shouting out tonight?
Shout out to Nitro. Shout out to you guys in the booth. Kenny for putting on the league still. Glad to be back. Yeah, shout out to all those guys at Paradigm. I subbed for Chris earlier. They let me hang out with them during the race. So it was fun racing with them. Shout out to Randy. I pretty much stole the stage from him right there at the line. I know he really wanted that stage win, and I kind of stole it from him. So it was a good battle in there. We tore it up through all those guys that stayed out and had a nice clean race there.
Well, indeed you did, boss. And that's all I always say, don't party too hard, and we'll see you next week.
I'll see you then.
Alrighty, that was Clayton Hoffman, driver of the 92 machine. Next up, we're going to talk to our winner here tonight, Brandon Pasalacqua. You did, I got to say, a big accomplishment tonight. You beat Clayton Hoffman. That's not something that's easy to do, Brandon. How you feeling?
No, it's not easy to do. I'm feeling good, and I'm kind of wore out from that last run, if I'm being honest. And it was fun battling through the field, and it's so tough to keep track position and not burn your tires off. So I just got lucky tonight, and where I had the perfect balance of that and was able to make a pass late in the race.
Well, you definitely were able to do that. And I got to say, I think you're selling yourself a little short there. You're talking about lucky. I don't think it has anything to do with luck. I think you did the right things. You made the right decisions. You did a good job tonight, Brandon. Don't sell yourself short, man. I understand you're trying to be humble, but you did a good job.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was worried there. Randy did an excellent job all night, setting the pace and leading. I think he probably led the most laps, and there's a lot of times where I didn't think I was going to be able to catch back up to him and the other leaders, but I just bided my time, stayed on the bottom, and tried to not have too much throttle off exit, and moved up to the wall after I saw Clayton do it. I moved up there probably about 7 to 10 laps later, and I think I saved just enough tire to be able to make that run at the end.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like that was the case, and I think that bottom groove running down there a little bit longer, definitely seemed like that helped you out a little bit more, and you were still able to kind of use that as well whenever you went to attack him. How do you prepare for a track like this as a team? Just as a Paradigm team, what do you guys do to prepare?
Yeah, it's tough. The we all bicker about what the right approach is to practice and get better and in the league. And in this particular week, we didn't find much value in just running laps with single cars or 1 or 2 cars. So a lot of us, I think all of us, jumped in a couple A opens just to get some data. And I think we learned that, you know, if you can, the longer you can stay on the bottom, the better off you'll be, especially if you get a long run. Now the problem is that you lose a lot of track position if guys behind you start to push it. So it's all a balancing act, and you just hope that the long run comes eventually.
100%. And I got to say that Paradigm as a whole looked fantastic here tonight. And do you feel like you guys have, over the last few weeks got a little bit of a kick in the rear to find more speed or just worked harder? Because, I mean, it seems like, the Team Conti guys have been showing up, but this week you guys looked like y'all were the top dogs.
Yeah, the Team Conti guys, they have fantastic drivers, and they put in a ton of work, so they deserve the finishes and the runs that they get. If this might sound arrogant, but if I'm being honest, I think a lot of us at Paradigm have top 5 speed week in and week out. It's just a matter of putting it all together in a race. There's been a few races where I've gotten caught up in a few accidents, whether it's my doing or someone else's, where I had a top 5 car or a top 3 car. So I think our team has speed. It's just a matter of all of us getting better at putting the whole race together. And I think once the year progresses, each and every one of us will get better at doing that. But the Conti guys do a phenomenal job doing that, so well deserved.
Yeah, no, I think you guys have you definitely have the speed, and I think you're exactly right. I think it's you guys are learning and really ironing out a lot of stuff right now, Brandon, and for your team is still technically, I think, young when you really think about it, the Paradigm team. And you guys have been you guys had 2 of the Final 4 last season. And I think this season it could be a real chance for you. You, Brandon, especially. I think you are looking fantastic this season. I love what I'm seeing. How you feeling about Darlington? Now, you're a good driver. Are you a Darlington driver there?
Yeah, there's a difference. Well, I appreciate the kind words, Brian. It means a lot to me. Darlington is probably my worst track. I used to be good in the old car, but I just can't get it figured out here. So I'm gonna have to lean on the Paradigm guys and try to figure out how to get around there. I don't know if I'll even be in the top 10. So we'll put the work in nonetheless and see what happens. But it's a fun track. It's so different on both ends of the track, and you get to see a bunch of cool throwback schemes. So I hope everyone puts one on, and we'll have a good time ripping there.
Oh, that sounds like that's going to be cool. Yeah, I forgot about the throwbacks. So hopefully that's a call to action. Everybody throw some throwbacks.
Right. Everybody get something on there. If you don't feel like making one, just go grab one off Cherry and Paint and call it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find one. But Brandon, who can we shout out after this big win?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, give a shout out to everybody at Paradigm Motorsports. Josh and Randy and Brian all had great finishes tonight. Clayton, he's in and out of our Discord, and it's a huge help. It's a pleasure racing with him. I get to learn and pick his brain during the race, which is a huge benefit. And I struggle with trying to figure out when the right time is to push the car and not. So seeing what he's doing kind of helps me with a gauge in doing that. I want to give a shout out to Kenny and everything he does for the league, the drivers. Recently, we've had a lot of great green flag runs, and that's what makes this league fun. So let's keep it up as the season progresses. And then just want to give a shout out to you guys in the booth. We appreciate the work you guys do.
Well, thank you, Brandon. Well, congratulations on your win, and we'll talk to you next week at Darlington, hopefully.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Take care.
Alrighty, that was Brandon Pastelacqua, driver of the 6 machine. He started in 9th and wins the race. Very good points day for Pastelacqua. Very good day for Paradigm. Big Al, what's your thoughts about this race tonight? I think it was an entertaining one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, it's always a pleasure week in and week out to come and just be able to be amongst such caliber of drivers, man, and just to be able to spectate and commentate. Yeah, I'm blessed. Thanks, Kenny, for putting this on. Thank you for being the great lead that you are. Thanks, JC, for providing a little bit of analytical context for us. And always got to give a big shout out for the man down under, Kobe Jordan.
100%. Kobe Jordan bringing all the great camera angles. I'll tell you, it does a fantastic job. Thank you, JC, as well. JC, what were your thoughts on the race here tonight? Just a little quick.
I mean, you guys seen it tonight. Kansas provided another fantastic race to the end where you have 2 cars battling for the win real hard. And congrats to Brandon for the win. He called me his good luck charm in Texas a couple weeks ago, so he'll probably with me up here every week now.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's exactly what he needs. But great race to everybody out there. We appreciate all the drivers showing up and making this what it is. I mean, without the drivers, this would not be entertaining. We've had 30 cars almost every single week, and that's fantastic. We want to keep that up for sure. We can't do it without the audience as well. Thank you to all the friends and family that tune in to watch your favorite drivers. We appreciate you for sure. Of course, as well, thank you to Kenny Powell for organizing the ISCA and keeping this long-standing league going. I tell you, this is a league with a lot of history, and I definitely love being a part of it for sure. We're going to a track with a lot of history next week, Darlington Raceway. Make sure you tune in 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, that's when the broadcast will begin. The race itself starts a little after 9:30. Me and Big Al will be on the call. Maybe JC will be, depending on how much longer his suspension is. But thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. This has been the ISCA. Take it easy.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, you know, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. You know, B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes, and I've been with the ISCA ever since.